Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. This is the England versus Czech Republic preview. As it says in the first thing in the title, Declan Rice versus Tomas Soucek. I hope you are all well today. I've mixed up the panel a little bit, but got two different England fans. Well, Ollie's wearing a Brazil shirt, but we will leave that. But yeah,
At
firstly,
least it's
Ollie.
not European.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's not European. That doesn't matter.
Ollie, how are you?
I'm good, Jake. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I'm joined by Gary as well. Gary, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. Right, so we'll get into it then. Ollie, I'll start with you. How are you feeling? Are you feeling confident going into the last game of the group?
Yeah. I think England. I think we've done enough in the last two games. I think getting that 3 points against Croatia was vital.
Yeah.
I don't think we didn't play great against Scotland, but I thought Scotland played well. To be fair, I thought they looked pretty solid. So I think 4 points out of the first two games. Yeah, I'm confident. I'm pretty confident we're going to go through. And I think a draw will be good enough, even though I think we'll win it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's going to be a tough game. I've said throughout the whole of these, we've got these three games. We can't underestimate any of these sides. I think we did that slightly with Scotland. We didn't do that against Croatia, but this is going to be another tough game to round out the group. Are you feeling confident, Gary?
Yeah, feeling confident. I think we can win the group. I think Czech Republic. I think they're probably the weakest side in the group. Because Scotland are just getting better, stronger. I just think they are the weakest, and we're not the only group to have underestimated teams. I mean, look at France the other night; they underestimated the Hungary side. So, and they're supposed to be favourites. So,
Yeah, and it shows anything can happen in these big competitions because I came back. I think it was the 60th minute, and it was 1-0. 1-0, and I was like, well, this is refreshing. Hungary are beating France. Everyone's bigging up France here, there, and everywhere. But anything can happen in these games. But we're going to go into some predicted lineups. We have had a bit of a mix up, left back, right back. You can switch around where you like. But Ollie, we're going to start with you. Talk us through your starting lineup then. So this is what Ollie would do if he was Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, more or less the same as what we've already had, Jake. I think the two centre halves, they've had, like Gary said a minute ago, they've had a couple of clean sheets, so they're obviously going into the game with confidence. They've started to work out a partnership between them, which is good. So I wouldn't go changing that around right now. Obviously, Shaw would be left back; he's left-footed, and Walker would be right. Again, Luke Shaw, I've always rated Shaw, especially this season. I think he's done well for United, and I think he's got more to offer for England. I would say he's England's most confident fullback. Same with Walker. I think Rice will steady the ship against Czech. Just like you said a minute ago, Jake, you don't want to underestimate these teams because they do have, a few good players. Like, what's that lad who plays for West Ham? Tomas
Soucek.
Yeah,
Soucek.
he's quite good. I mean, like you said, football's a funny game. You only have to sleep for a minute and they score one goal, and the whole thing's changed. So I think Rice will steady the ship in midfield. Matt will give some pace. Foden does, he's looking a great player. Grealish will give a lot of energy up front, and what Sterling and Kane can do. They just finished, don't they? But I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think we should have enough for Czech Republic quite comfortably with that.
Yeah. So to review Ollie's side, then we've gone for Pickford in goal, Shaw, Stones, Mings and Walker as his back four. Three in the middle of Mount, Rice and Foden, Sterling, Kane and Grealish up front. So that's very, very attacking. Going for apart from Rice, really attacking players in the midfield. Then finishing off with that front three. We're going to have a little discussion about Harry Kane in just a minute, but that's a decent front three as well. Yeah. I think Sterling, that's another debate that you can have, but that's just down to opinion. Gary, I'm going to come on to you then. Here is your starting lineup if you were Gareth Southgate, and walk us through it then.
Like we said, Pickford, Mings, and Stones started both games, all clean sheets. So you've got to stick with them. I thought, and Walker, I think his pace down the wing. I mean, he's one of the fastest in the squad, so you've got to keep him for the pace. And Shaw, the other side, I just think his strength as well. I think that's a solid defence because I think we need that, because if we get found out, then we need that defence. So, and in the midfield, Rice is the holding midfielder, and then Mount and Foden, who can both switch sides should they need to, and they both offer. They're both players that won't turn with the ball and play it back. They'll go forward all the time. So the same with Grealish and Sancho. That's pretty much why I've chose those four, because they'll always press forward. And I just think the thing with Kane was he wasn't getting the supply. So I think start with Rashford and see how it goes, and then maybe bring Kane on later. And if it's a little bit risky, but get through the group and then use Kane when we need to in the knockout stage.
Yeah. Could be right, actually. Yeah.
It's a bold move. Let's review.
And the same with Sterling. Rest him for a bit and use him in the knockout stage. Really,
yeah, against some of the bigger teams, maybe they might come stronger, mightn't they, in the bigger games? That's right.
Yeah. So Gary has gone for Pickford in goal, back for Shaw, Mings, Stones and Walker. Midfield three of Mount, Rice and Foden again. He's mixed it up with Sancho, and then he's took Kane out and put Marcus Rashford there and put in Jack Grealish, which we are all calling for. I'm going to go through my 11. There's a few changes in there. Let's go through mine. So I've gone for Pickford in goal, a back four of Chilwell, Stones, Mings and Trippier. I think Chilwell, we're going to discuss it later on, but Gareth Southgate still doesn't know his best 11. I think he's going to keep rotating these fullbacks. Kyle Walker didn't have a fantastic game the first time out, but he's got so many fullbacks to choose from. We'll just have to wait and see where that. Stones and Mings have played both games. I don't think he'll put in Harry Maguire now. I've gone for Bellingham in midfield, because what I've seen, the first game the midfield worked with Rice and Phillips, but the second game nothing was quite clicking. So maybe a bit of young energy from the 17-year-old midfielder could help out. So I've gone for a risk with Bellingham, Rice alongside him, and then Phillips, who was man of the match in the first game against Croatia. My front three, I've gone for Foden. Speaks for himself, Phil Foden. He's got to be in there. Harry Kane, I've just stuck with him purely for the fact of he scores goals, and if we take him out, that it might cause costly. And when we take him out, he might have had the game where he would scored 1, 2, 3 goals. He's just that type of player. And Grealish, who we're all calling for, I've gone for. He must start. He must start, in my opinion. So we're going to discuss a few players now, and Gary touched on in there. Harry Kane. Ollie, what do you think is going wrong with we have had in the last couple of hours when we're filming this on Twitter? It's been announced that Harry Kane will officially start against the Czech Republic. But what do you think's gone wrong in the last 2 games? Because he's been rubbish.
Yeah, I like Gary, like you both just said, Jake. Harry Kane's the type of player you can't really leave out, because if we didn't score a goal and we end up losing the game, people will say, "Oh, you should have played Kane. You should have played Kane," and you can understand why. He is one of the best strikers in the world. But I thought against Scotland, like Gary said, he didn't get much supply. Some of that you could say was credit to Scotland. They did defend well. Robertson's great at fullback, but I thought England were quite poor in midfield myself. And they didn't get him the ball. It was quite scrappy. So I think they need to work the midfields different. And, like Gary said, get the ball to him a lot more often, especially with Foden. I think Sterling could be, if Sterling turns his game on, he's very tricky with his feet and he will get the ball into him. So it's difficult to know what's going on. And unless you're the manager and you're seeing them in training every day, it's difficult for us to say. But that's why I would, start with Kane and Sterling. And if it's not working, then I'd take him off sort of 65 minutes or something.
Yeah. And Gary, with Sterling, I've never been a huge fan of Southgate in this competition playing Sterling because I think he's been poor for Man City this season. He scored the goal against Croatia, but he was rubbish like many players were against Scotland. I just think we've got better players to put in there. Jack Grealish,
Yeah.
Jadon Sancho. I don't know. I just don't see. I see Gareth Southgate's picking his favourites from 2018. You can see that, the Sterlings, and I just don't think. I think there's better players he can put in there over Sterling, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like with my team, I chose Rashford because I think that's what he should go with. But then I know, if he's got Kane, he's going to play Kane. And equally, if you put Kane in place of Rashford in my team, then he's going to get the supply because you don't. Whereas Sterling will go for goal. Very rarely he lays it off to someone else. He just so you want Harry Kane in and around the box. You don't want him going back and supplying someone else in the box. Going back into a midfield role, which is sort of what he done a bit in the last match. You want him in and around the box because he hasn't got that. Son, like with Tottenham, he hasn't got that Son or who's the other guy. When he plays with Moura, and that they all interlink with each other, and they're all around the box. He needs to be supplied. He's a striker,
Yeah.
Ollie, a question is, before we discuss Czech Republic for a minute, do you think the problem is so far we haven't had good performances? We let's face it. And do you think the main problem is Gareth Southgate doesn't know his best 11?
I think that seems to be the trouble, Jake. Yeah. I don't think he's played with that team long enough, really, to work out his best level. Yeah, but that's probably right. Maybe he should try Sancho, instead of Sterling, and give that a try and see how that works. Because you're probably right, actually, when Gary was saying about Sterling does go for goal a lot, and Kane is like a striker, isn't he? He's a proper box, in-box striker. So. Maybe Southgate does need to tinker with the team a little bit more, and try new things. And like Czech Republic aren't exactly a really dangerous team. So if they can't beat Republic with any of their squad players, they're not going to get very far, are they? So maybe you are right. Maybe he should try different things.
The thing is with England, since Southgate's been there, we've always been a team that we'll scrape through 1-0. We never blow anyone away. I mean,
that's right. Yeah.
We never. And on paper, we should beat Czech Republic 3-0, something like that.
Of course we should, yeah.
Great
players,
we always seem to play safe all the time.
Yeah. But Gary, do you think obviously he doesn't know his best 11, and do you think announcing a provisional squad didn't help that? Because he announced his 33-man squad or whatever it was, and then he waited like a week or so until he had his squad he was playing with. Do you think it would have been better to just been harsh and picked his squad on the day to then have more time in training, perhaps, to know what he's working with completely? Because I just feel he looks a bit baffled and a bit confused at times, Gareth Southgate, and he just doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, you might have had some of the players that missed out narrowly in the squad, and replacing a couple of the players that we're probably sat here thinking, why are they in and why aren't they in? Like Lingard and players like that. I know Lingard hasn't played the whole season, but the second half of the season, leading up to this, he was phenomenal. One of the best players in the league. So why he weren't in the squad? You pick your players that are on form, do you not? You don't pick your players that you trust in. I mean, and that's probably a bit what we were talking about with Sterling. That's probably why he's in, because he's a favourite.
Yeah, I agree, and I think what we perhaps missed against Scotland was maybe if he didn't pick one of the fullbacks, or just or didn't put Sterling in there or someone, or just put Ollie Watkins in there, or maybe take him out for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because I think if we would have put Ollie Watkins on against Scotland with 20 minutes to go, I think he just offered that bit of hold up play, because every time we lumped it forward, Scotland were getting it and coming back at us, and I feel just that different attack, that different type of going forward, I think could have helped us. And we're very much samey. I think yes, when we turn up on our day, we're gonna thrash a team like Scotland's, but I think we just need that different aspect of perhaps a Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Ollie Watkins. But I think Gareth Southgate is too scared to do it, to be honest with you. But are we gonna discuss Czech Republic before we go on to predictions then? Ollie, it's Declan Rice v Tomas Soucek. There is recognisable Vladimir Soufal in there as well. This is a good side, and as I said, we can't underestimate these, and that's going to be a really key battle certainly for West Ham fans to see that as well. Rice v Soucek in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know a great deal about Czech Republic, in all honesty. I think those two West Ham players, as you rightly said, Jacob, they're the only two I can actually think of.
They used to be, like with the Rosicki and days of Rosicki, they're those sort of players.
Yeah, Barros used to play, but he was all right.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's why I would put Rice in there. I think he knows. So what's his name? Soucek, isn't it?
Soucek, yeah.
Soucek, yeah. I think Rice will just keep that steady in midfield as he does for West Ham really well. But I still think we, on paper, we should be too strong for Czech. If we don't win 3-0, if we don't win 3 or 4-0, they ain't going to get past the group stages. I don't think. I hate to say it, but knockout stages. But I win.
One real threat there's going to be for the Czech Republic, Gary, is from corners. I don't know a great deal about the Czech Republic apart from Soufal and Soucek, but I'm just looking at this and thinking, if Soufal puts the ball into the box, Soucek, we all know, is a physical presence in both boxes. Mings and Stones have got a job on their hands because they've got some really tall, physical, good heading players, and they're going to be a different side which we haven't came up against. Yeah, a proper old school, get your foot in side that are going to frustrate us, I think.
Yeah. I don't see any problem with anyone being up against Mings because he's pretty strong, and if on his day he will defend that box with his life. Stones, on the other hand, good defender, but like you say, a bit. Some of the players I'm a bit unknown on them. I've only what I've seen, the matches that I've watched, and I'm watching pretty much all the matches.
Yeah,
I haven't watched them at all, honestly.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're not at work.
We're gonna finish off with our predictions then. Ollie, straight over to you. What is your score prediction?
England 3-0.
Gary?
Yeah.
2-1 to England, obviously.
Yeah, you've kind of nicked my prediction there. 2-1. I think Czech Republic will score, but I think we would just have too much for them. So that's got 2-1 written all over the book. So I'm going to go a little bit more positive. Am I? It's difficult because we've had the England that's turned up in the last 2 games in a flat and don't look like scoring 2 or 3 goals. Or we could have a Brazil like whacking it around like with Foden and Sancho and whoever these players, Grealish. You won't know. I'm gonna back the lads, however much they've been poor in the last 2 games, and I'm gonna go 3-1 to England. I don't see how that's gonna come off if we play like we have in the last 2 games, but you've got to be positive. Thank you very much to you, Ollie and Gary, for coming on.
Thanks for having us, Jake.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new around here. And yeah, I'll be back very, very soon. Subscribe for more England and Euros content. Up the 3 lines, we need to get 3 points on the board. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.